Hey, Ink. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to kind of get started pretty quickly here. So this is mostly going to be for YouTube, but I will still be paying attention to chat.
Hey, brother.
How's it going? Mowed the grass, my skin's itchy. Alright. YouTube, if you hear people talking, that is Twitch chat. What? Oh my gosh, Noon's already ruined this YouTube video. Alright, here we go. So,
Shitty day.
That sucks, man. So I'm going to be talking to chat, and I'm going to be doing some tips and tricks that I normally do that's going to be mostly focused on terrain. Let's, first of all, I see this a lot, especially with new builders. Two things. Fog, and actually I don't even have mine on because it's always off. This depth of the field. Can't really tell right now because there's nothing on here. But you want to turn that off. Especially when you're building. For taking photos, it's different. Building, take it off. New boards are going to have the fog multiplier about half. Turn that off. There's no reason to have it on when you're building. It's one of those things where you add in later and see how things look. So the first big thing, and I didn't do this at the beginning and I regretted it later on, is building a base. We're going to do some nature terrain tips today. So I did the rural set. If you're in a city, you could use the city walls, whatever the theme is. If you match it up, it makes the board look overall nice. Second thing is the forest generator. I'll put the link in the description when this goes up on YouTube. But it's a fantastic thing. You just generate a random forest, you copy it to clipboard, you paste it in the game. And there's sliders you can adjust for size. I just did a simple 5x5 just to show this off. It places rocks. Now, with the trees, for whatever reason, it's probably because this is on the older side, but it still works great. These will only clip to the center, unlike the trees now. Take the same tree, you can place it anywhere. But with the forest generator, it's still treating this as a tile and not an asset. The rocks are okay. The sticks, aren't terrible. But the trees clip to the center. There's all kinds of different sliders you can use, and it'll be great, and I'll definitely show you why. Once we get to building some small terrain pieces. So that's super easy. Another reason for a base is if you want to add in basements. We're going to do some water here in a bit, so you can have some depth with your water. I try not to have my buildings more than 3 stories. So that's, a basement, story 1, story 2. Beyond that, I'm worried about my players having camera issues. Not necessarily Talespire's fault with the camera issues. Is that my players only play Talespire once every week. That's it. They don't get on and build. I can zip around cameras. I can go nuts with them. I don't have an issue. My players will. Only one of them actually builds in it, so. So for an encounter idea, we're just going to do a small little thing here with a road. I'm going to build out a little bit so that you can kind of get the idea. And then I will point out some stuff along the way. So there's a normal base. And I see this a lot when I do the board review videos, that you can see all this as a pattern. It's the same piece over and over again. It doesn't rotate or anything like that. For this purpose, it's not going to matter too much. If you use the forest generator pieces, they rotate the pieces for you. And so this grass is way better, especially on a bigger scale. Everything just froze. I had this issue earlier. There we go. So for this purpose, this is not going to be an issue. And I've been building this a lot lately. I've been working on encounters. We're going to just kind of zip through things. We're going to, now we do have a curved piece. So I'm going to go this way, so it's going this way. And I'll kind of show you guys what I like compared to what we have access to. So we have these curved road pieces. I used to use these at the beginning. They're very good for beginners, and it's a lot quicker. Problem is, you can't do angles. We have these. You can't angle these roads. So that's T intersections, four-way intersections, and curves. If you want angle, and this is what I've been doing a lot lately, is I've been moving to the swamp pieces. So with the swamp pieces, you will get them with a curve. So they don't sit right with the rest of the sets. Like, you have this right here where you can see it's curved. They're not even touching right here. We'll hide that later, but it has that same issue here. So what we'll do is, and I'm middle mouse wheel rotating these just to get some variety in the terrain. So I like this a lot better than this. Because here, this is the alternative. If you're new and you don't have a lot of time to build, these are great. If you have the time to build and you want to kind of give it a more realistic feel, this is the better option in my opinion. Now, all these are my opinion, and there's no right or wrong way to build in Talespire, and I cannot stress that enough. So we're going to do, we did the road, we're going to add some, we're going to make it basically an ambush site. So even with this all being the same piece, this is going to be pretty full, so it's going to get broken up a lot. Go over here to assets, go to nature. We're going to do rocks first. So when I do rocks, it doesn't matter if it's a ledge or if it's a mountain. I build in layers. So I may take this rock right here and just rotate it, just a little bit, and I'm using the same rock over and over again. Kind of the same thing here. I might rotate it. It just depends on the curvature or anything like that that I need. That's fine. You could be done with that if you wanted to. But when you do this on a much bigger scale, you're going to run into patterns. Patterns, they're the worst. Like this grass here. That drives me bonkers. What you can do is you just layer more rocks in. And clipping is your best friend. Then we can go over here. I like these smaller sandstone rocks. They will make certain areas kind of, stand out a bit more. And maybe we take this and flip it up and kind of turn it a little bit like that. This is floating. It's fine. We can come back to it. So clipping is definitely your best friend.
What do you mean by clipping?
Holding left shift and clipping it into each other. So it doesn't matter if it's a small little hill or mountains. Being able to do that works. Trees will help is usually the next thing. Now, I didn't build a lot here because I want to show off some other stuff. But these trees, as I got a wild hair in my nose, probably one of my favorite overall assets. You can use them as a tree, or I love them as a bush. I like these better than this. I like this, not as good as this. So, depends on the terrain. So if I have a forest full of these trees, which is what the default settings are for the forest generator, I won't use these as a bush. Then it kind of looks weird like this. But you can flip this in, angle this. You know, that looks better than clipping these together. What I've really started to do is take this piece. We're going to build this mountain up a little bit more so it's, you can tell, a bit easier. As this is just a tutorial board. Here we go. Actually, you know what? We'll do the exact same piece right on top of each other. So there's the exact same piece right there. You can take these trees and you can kind of clip them in as bushes along the rock face. We're gonna go back, we're gonna grab this. And it doesn't matter if you have the rock all the way up like this or just a little tiny smidge poking out. Every little bit helps. Like this here, so some of the pieces are flat on the bottom. Doing like an overhang is not ideal. So I could just take this and I could slide this out a bit if I wanted to, or I could slide it back a little bit as well. Take, you know what, let's take this piece here instead. You know, it just adds a little bit of different color. And if you want to, you don't have to do that. You can take this, turn it just a little bit, and you have a completely different rock. And these are so thick that you can do a lot of clipping in here. Get some more trees in here. Whoops. Now I'll kind of just dot these around. I won't go nuts on them. This is just simple. It'll take a little bit of time to do, but it'll definitely make your boards very much improved. Now, something else I've been doing a lot lately is using this bush as basically kind of gives it a mossy look to things on the outside. I don't like that piece. You know, just barely clipping this in some spots where it's just showing through. Just has that look to it. Like this, I like that. Oh, by the way, that exact same piece is gone right here. With just that tree alone. And if you do the trees, you then can take roots. Start flipping roots in. Now, some of them will look better than the others with these rocks, but it breaks things up. So doing this over a large area and just layer things, you know, do the big rocks, go to the next size down of rocks, go to the next size down of rocks. Then start with your biggest vegetation piece, which is usually these trees. You know, then move down to the bushes, then to the roots. Then, you know, if you want to do, you know, these dirt piles are not bad. We don't really have the space for it, but for example, down here, you know, just adding this along the road. It does have the one rock piece in there, so you'll have to watch for patterns on that. But right here, you can see, you know, the difference between this edge and this edge. And go nuts with it. Rotate it, clip it, adjust the heights of it. Then what you can do is you need to break some of those rocks up. Just bring another tree over here. Just paint the happy little trees. You know, you do a fallen one here. This piece right here, I love for just a little detail work of just like clipping it into the dirt. We can do some vines as well. Vines are fun, especially on mountains. Most of your players are going to do stupid stuff, so you might as well give them some vines to hang themselves. Now, the only downside is, see, that piece was too long for this one. But we can take this. And just kind of clip these in here a little bit. Kind of turn this a little bit. If you just turn it a little bit, you'll get a variety here. So something simple like that. Ferns are great. Ferns are probably my favorite bush. They do have 2 of them. Now, the bigger one I don't normally use unless I just want a bigger fern in general. When it comes to flowers, we don't have a lot. We have basically this one purple one. It's good. The leaves are really big on it. So another thing that you can do, let's grab this bush. Bring this bush down here. I'm gonna kind of do some bush work around the side here. Actually, you know what? Let's do a big bush coming down the side. You can have it kind of like waterfall down. If it comes out far enough, you can twist this piece a little bit. Do some clipping in here. Now you got a bush coming down. Well, there's a lot of green there. Mushrooms. Fantastic. And you just clip them in. That breaks up the green. Gives your place a little bit more color. And with our limited assets, they work. Like, these aren't bad. They're green. You can do the big fly traps as well, if you choose to. Big victory bell plants. Got a nice fey log here. Now, some of the stuff that you have to kind of contend with is sizing and the color not being the correct color for your needs. You run into that problem with the roots. So we're going to come over here and move to trees. Probably won't even use the other side of that board. I have grown to love pine trees. Take this, hold X and it'll snap for you. Hold X and it'll snap for you. So you can do several different sizes here. Take this. Because it is a different one. You take the dirt. I love putting dirt around bushes and trees and stuff, and it just kind of adds a little bit to it. This log I don't mess with too much. Some of these other trees I don't mess with unless I'm doing like a fey or a swamp build specifically. If you want some new color in your tree, just drop this in here and it'll break up your very, very green forest. Now, we don't have too many seasonal assets yet. We do have snow pines. We do have some fall trees. We have some acorns, which are nice. And we do have some leaves. I like these. I don't mind using these. The leaf pile I don't ever use. It's very weirdly shaped. Like, why is this up here like this? I mean, if anything, it should be a mound. It's like whoever made this never played in a pile of leaves before. I mean, you can clip it in like that, but at that point, you might as well just use the leaves on the ground. So just little things like that will help. Now, if this was a gigantic board, I'm not worrying about the stuff that the players are not going to even bother seeing. But, if you throw some rocks in there, cool. If you throw this in here, even if it's not that high, you can always take this. You know what? Let's get rid of these, because those are garbage, in my opinion, which is all I'm going to listen to. We're just going to take that. We're going to copy this. Take this and throw it in the ground here. I've done this before. I've built a huge section of a mountain, then copied and pasted chunks just to get some different parts. So let's take this, and then let's take this and this, lower this.
Hero.
So we're gonna copy this.
Yo.
Hey guys. And so I built this piece up, copied just a couple of different sections of it, and now we have a whole different side of the path. Now, they won't all fit, so, you know, if there's a piece coming over the board, you may have to delete it, or, you know, on the back side, there's a floating tree. But taking just this little bit, copy and pasted some sections, we now have a completely different side. Than this one here. So these corners for the paths, it's up to you how you want to do it. If you want to, you know, line it with bushes, you know, this is a well-traveled path. LOL Gamers, Mr. Dub, thanks for stopping by, guys. You know, if you want to do just a path like this, you can even start curving it. You know, if you want. And same thing, layer it. Like, alright, well, that's just, you know, the same bush over and over again. You have ferns. You have... These I don't necessarily like outside of water, because they look very plasticky. And that's my biggest complaint with those. You know, you can take this cactus, and you can clip in cactuses. We have these little lotuses. You can clip in lotuses. And if it doesn't, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Match what you're kind of doing, it's fine. It's your world. Do whatever you want with it. There's literally no one that can tell you that you're doing it wrong. Now, if you want, you know, throw some of these in here, do it. I mean, my chat might tell me that I'm wrong, but they're wrong. One of the other things I've been doing as of late is I used on a previous board, I kind of had these curved areas, is I used these. I kind of clipped them down as like a walking path. Then and this is something I liked, is I clipped this through so it looked like it was like overgrown. Now some of them I went like that, some I went like this. And it just gives an extra layer of realism. Realism is a good word. So there is mountains, some landscaping tips. You know, it's little stuff like that that will, you don't have to be fancy about it, and it'll make your board look way better. I mean, even just with these bushes covering up these lines, works. Now, if you wanted to, you could pixel hunt. See, it doesn't, not all things will clip and look good together. So it's kind of like that trial and error. Now, I got those. You know, got some dirt over here, it's fine, but I put it over far enough where it blocks that edge. With the mud pieces, you pretty much have to always be clipping. Let me get into a top-down view. Let's change the sun so we can see a bit better. You know, here is, let me get out of build mode. Here it is when it's clipped through, you lose the edge. But I don't like the square grid look, so, you know, placing stuff there will definitely help. You know, and I've done all this in what?
There's a nifty mud asset too. Big fan.
Already used it. It's down here. It's at the bottom of my trees and kind of sticking out here. Yeah, the mud asset is fantastic. You know, I did talk about the rock that was in there. You just spin it and hide the rock. Because I am I've seen people do this. I don't like this. One, it's 2 different shades, and then that rock. So if you do that, you know, hide it with.
It looks so good I didn't even notice it. Haha.
Yeah, hide it with the rock.
In a Talespire stream, you know that you are doing something wrong. He says nothing, but you just know.
Udi needs my help. He is as good of a builder he is. He's even said it himself. His terrain needs some work. So that's kind of what got me to thinking. So like this right here, perfectly fine. And then you just take that and it kind of hides it all. Yeah, I did the mud pieces here. Then my favorite spot is bushes and trees. Yeah, I could spend some more time doing this, but we're just kind of going over the basics. You know, and you can stack things. You know, clipping is always going to be great. If you don't like that, let's go down to nature and let's grab a vine. Vines are fun. Where's the roots at? Roots, they look dumb if you place them like this. They really do. But if you place them in the ground a little bit, looks like I need to avoid them with my lawnmower now. You know, put it in the spot you want, raise it and lower it just a smidge, and you'll get that look. Alright, so the next big thing is water. So, water is currently on a plane. We're kind of stuck with that for now. Basically going to do this board, but with a creek. Oh, by the way, all that pattern that I placed here, it's all gone. Like, even over here where there is grass, you can't tell the pattern anymore. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. And actually, you know what? Let's go on I don't want to make a second board. So, and I've done this a certain way. Then I've seen, and I did this the other day for the first time, was Grimbeard do this. So he did this with using Hollow Fox's PNG map. Is he did a curved creek. And we're just going to kind of make it like super simple. Because I want to use this board twice. He made it like this, so when you raise the water, you got a curve. Now, I've never done that before until my latest build. I've only done it using... So lazy, I just go here and grab the pieces. And I don't know if I'll ever do this again because it's way more time consuming. But... So let's do a curved river here. Then you would have to do all the outside. Then you'd have to layer it up so you actually get some depth. Like that. And then you do that on the other side. Yeah, sure, you can copy and paste in some areas. But there's other areas where you won't be able to because of, you know, just height differences in general. And then you got to worry about the gaps underneath and, you know, getting all the spots because you missed it because you're a big dum-dum. Like that right there took me way longer than placing some rocks. And what you do with the rocks is just take your dirt, take your swamp mud. Oh, you want it a little bit lower here? Okay. You can clip the dirt right into the rocks and you can kind of step it down. You know, maybe there's a little rapid here in the bend or in this corner so that it is. And even these, you clip these through. And to get these off pieces, you clip it underneath that one. So that was way quicker than what I did. And it has a more natural bend to it. And you can, you know, I could have just went straight with it, and it'll be way quicker. Then you just place the dirt where you want it as the height. So if you want more, you know, muddy walls, grab the little piece here. If you want more muddy walls, go like that. You know, put it right up against it. These rocks on top. Well, that looks like garbage. Well, let's go ahead and delete some of these. Well, that looks terrible too. Oh no, look, I've done fixed that issue already. You got some mud there, you got your bend, you got some natural terrain. It's stuff like that that just makes your board look better. So, we're going to move this. I'm not going to get rid of it. We are going to move it. If you guys have questions in chat, let me know. We're only kind of focusing on nature tips on this one. We're going to do a building tip next time. See, the street doesn't even matter. All right, so got this. Here's our path. Going out this way. So we go to the forest generator. Let's slap this on a 10 by 10. Sure, why not? There's lush and the sparse grass. Sure. I hate the rocks. Turn that off. Roots, not a fan. Stackable pine trees. We can turn that down a little bit. Regular trees. Let's jack that bad boy up. Dead trees. Almost none. Bushes. Sure, we can have a little bit of them. Generate random forest. Copy to clipboard. Paste. Generate random forest, copy, paste. Now, yes, you can pull boards from Talespire, Tales Tavern, and not Tales, yeah, Tales Tavern and Tales Bazaar, if you want. If you want to make it for yourself. I mean, obviously, you'll measure things and make it look slightly better. Then this right here, what is this? What, 6 by 4 or 5? You don't even have to redo the code. So, if you do this, and look, now we have a focal point of the map. Everything else is done. Problem with this is if you have a lot of trees, so I did the trees at 40%. The dead trees are nice. The problem is because it sits them in the center of the tile, you get a lot of straight lines of trees. If you're happy with that, sure. Me, I can't stand patterns and lines and stuff like that. But the grass is all randomized. It is spun in different directions. And it's just randomly put places. And I think my keyboard is dying. Fantastic. Then if you take a look at my road, compared to just dropping or dragging and dropping. So, okay, I think my keyboard's going to die, so. But yeah, my road, their road.